Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching. I've got another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, about explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. So let's jump into this.
Good morning. I'm Deputy Chief Matthew Mernan with the Henderson Police Department. I'm here to provide you with an update regarding the officer-involved shooting that occurred on Sunday, January 4th at approximately 9:04 a.m. in the 600 block of North Water Street. This is the first officer-involved shooting of 2026. The purpose of this briefing is to share information that we can release at this stage of the investigation. This remains an active and ongoing investigation, and details may evolve as additional evidence is reviewed. The map shown in this presentation is not a recent satellite image. The area has been developed since this image was taken. At approximately 9:04 a.m. on Sunday, January 4th, Henderson police officers were dispatched to the 600 block of North Water Street in reference to reported theft of a front-loader construction vehicle. The suspect was described as a Hispanic male adult wearing a tan beanie, tan jacket, gray or black pants, and white shoes, and he was later identified as Juan Rincon Carreño. Prior to officers' arrival, dispatch advised that the reporting party had security video showing a male suspect jumping a fence into a secure private construction site and attempting to hotwire a piece of heavy equipment. The caller further reported that a security guard on scene attempted to contact the suspect. During that encounter, the suspect threatened to kill the security guard while armed with a screwdriver. The suspect then gained control of a front-loader construction vehicle, later identified as a 2007 Kawasaki, and drove it through a perimeter fence and proceeded towards Taylor Street. The first responding officer arrived on Taylor Street and exited her patrol vehicle. The officer immediately issued verbal commands for the suspect to stop. The suspect ignored those commands and continued driving the approximately 39,000-pound front loader directly towards the officer and her patrol vehicle. The officer attempted to create distance, but the suspect continued advancing towards her in an attempt to run her over. The officer discharged her firearm in an attempt to stop the deadly threat. Following the discharge of the firearm, the suspect continued to chase the officer, who was on foot. A second officer arrived on scene shortly thereafter. As that officer arrived, the suspect turned the front loader toward the second officer. As the officer exited his patrol vehicle, the suspect rammed both patrol vehicles. At that point, the second officer discharged his firearm. Both patrol vehicles became lodged underneath the front loader, causing the vehicle to come to a stop. Additional officers then arrived on scene. Officers repeatedly issued commands for the suspect to exit the vehicle in an effort to de-escalate the situation. Commands were given in both English and in Spanish. However, the suspect refused to comply. After multiple unsuccessful attempts to gain compliance, officers climbed onto the front loader and attempted to remove the suspect. The suspect actively resisted and a physical struggle ensued. During the struggle, two officers and the suspect fell approximately 7 feet from the front loader to the ground. The two officers involved in the fall were transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect, who had sustained 2 gunshot wounds, was also transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. During the incident, 2 officers discharged their firearms, and a total of 9 rounds were fired. The suspect has been identified as Juan Rincon Carreño. He is a 33-year-old adult. This booking photo is from a 2024 from a previous and unrelated arrest. The suspect is currently in custody and is charged with 2 counts of attempted murder with a deadly weapon, resisting a public officer with a deadly weapon, grand larceny of a motor vehicle, destruction of property of another, destroy, injure, personal property of another. The officers involved in this incident are Officer Megan Jacobs. Officer Jacobs has been with the Henderson Police Department since 2021. Officer Jacobs was equipped with a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun. The investigation revealed that she fired 5 rounds. She is assigned to the East Patrol Division. Sergeant Lance Jaworski has been with the Henderson Police Department since 2015. Sergeant Jaworski was equipped with a 9mm Springfield Echelon handgun. The investigation revealed that he fired 4 rounds. Sergeant Jaworski is also assigned to the East Patrol Division. In accordance with department policy, the officers involved have been placed on administrative leave as we conduct a thorough investigation. As part of today's briefing, we'll be presenting 911 audio, body-worn camera, dash cam, and surveillance videos associated with this incident. We will start with 2 911 calls from the reporting parties.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We just had somebody hop the fence, and it looks like he's hot wiring one of the bulldozers right now.
Do you have video of this?
I'm watching him live right now.
You're on scene or video?
Over video, and we have a guard on site, and I did dispatch them.
Okay, hold on one sec. And he's hot wiring a bulldozer?
It looks like it, yeah.
Okay, I'll get a
These are
description.
kind of hot wires.
Okay, hold on. Okay, the suspect, white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
It looks either white or Hispanic.
Okay, can you tell how old he might be?
Maybe late 20s, 30s.
Okay, and what color shirt and pants is he wearing?
He has a tan beanie, a tan jacket, looks like gray or black pants, and white shoes.
Okay, did he arrive on foot or in a car?
On foot, he hopped the fence.
Henderson 911, what is the address of your emergency?
So I have a guy trying to steal a bulldozer. He's just threatening to kill me. I'm at a security at one of the property. It's going to be 601 Water Street in Henderson. He's trying to steal a bulldozer right now. I tried getting him off the property, but he was threatening to kill me. He has a weapon on him as well, and he's a Mexican guy. He's in a bulldozer right now trying to steal it. I see one of the cops just pull up right now, and yep, he got there. Look like he's about to run over the police car. Oh my God, my morning. Yep, he's about to go. Yep, there you go. There you go. He's trying to run over the police officer right now. This guy is not playing. Oh my God. Yep.
Was that shot
trying
fired?
to kill him? Yep. The cop's trying to take him out. The guy's trying to roll over the cop in the police car. And he just destroyed the police car.
He destroyed the police car?
He destroyed the police car.
Next is the body-worn camera from Officer Jacobs, the officer who the suspect attempted to run over. In this video, you'll see the suspect ignoring verbal commands while driving the approximately 39,000-pound front loader directly towards the officer and her patrol vehicle. As the officer attempts to avoid being struck by the front loader, she discharges her firearm.
Copy, I see him. And he's taking off. He's coming towards me now. Hey! He's coming right at my patrol vehicle. Hey! Stop! Stop now! He's coming at me. Stop! Get on the ground! Stop fire! He's still moving. He's going to the whole car. Stop right there! Stop! Get on the ground! Stop! Do not move! Henderson Police, do not move!
Next is the dash cam from Officer Jacobs' patrol vehicle, showing the suspect ramming her patrol car. The following video is the body-worn camera from Sergeant Jaworski. He was the second officer to arrive on scene. In this video, you will see the sergeant exit his patrol vehicle moments before the suspect rams it, at which point Sergeant Jaworski discharges his firearm.
Copy, shots fired.
Moving back and forth, right there.
Shots fired. The following is continued video from Sergeant Jaworski's body-worn camera. The officers repeatedly order the suspect to exit the front loader, issuing commands in both English and in Spanish. Officers attempted to de-escalate the situation for several minutes before the suspect was taken into custody.
You're going to slowly climb out of the bulldozer, come down those steps, and get down on your knees.
You understand? Let's go!
Hey, keep your hands where we can see them. Get out of the bulldozer slowly. I can't hear you. Climb out of the bulldozer slowly.
Alviso, give him Spanish ones.
Salte del carro ahorita, con las manos arriba.
Can you get a good shot on the 40 from there?
Not really. Let me move to where you are.
Yeah, come over here.
Take a close picture of you.
Louder, Alviso.
Salte del carro.
Next is surveillance footage that offers an overall view of the incident. The video captures the suspect jumping the fence and taking control of the front loader. It also shows the suspect attempting to run the officer over, the vehicle ramming, and the ensuing struggle that resulted in the officer's injuries. I want to emphasize that our officers acted heroically and decisively to prevent a much greater threat to the public. The suspect was actively using heavy machinery in a reckless and deliberate manner, creating an immediate and escalating threat to the community. This was a very dynamic event, and I am proud of how our officers responded and performed. Please note, the evidence that we have shared today is currently under review. Conclusions about this incident will be made only after the investigation is complete. This concludes the briefing. I will now take a few questions.
When you say hot wire, is it the suspect connecting two like little wires together, or did you put like a screwdriver inside the ignition and turn on the car?
I'm not sure on that information right now, sir, so that's something we'd have to follow up with you for.
And as far as what the suspect was carrying, was it, I don't know, I guess what was he carrying?
So he was carrying a shoebox, and inside the shoebox there were some writings of his. Most of it was kind of incoherent. However, there was some suicidal ideologies that were in there. And,
could you describe just the nature of the injuries to the officers, if you can?
so at this time, the officers sustained non-life-threatening injuries. They were released from the hospital later that day.
And just the construction vehicle, you said it was a public works site, but how big of a problem is construction vehicle theft in Henderson or just around Southern Nevada? Is it a frequent problem that the police have to deal with?
No, not that I'm aware of, sir. In fact, this is the first time of an incident like this that I can recall in my career.
Was it a homeless person or somebody?
Sir, I'm going to go right back here real quick, and I'll come back to you.
In the shoebox, you said there were writings of his.
Yes, sir.
Was there any indication of a motive or reasons why he decided to do this?
No, unfortunately, he's been uncooperative with this investigation, so we do not have a motive at this time.
It seemed like he knew what he was doing, though. Obviously, he probably had some experience working in construction. Any idea?
The family has mentioned that he may have previous construction experience, but we don't believe that there's any connection between him and this specific construction site. And this will be the last question. I have time for one more.
Was he a homeless individual, or was he a part of that construction crew?
No, he was not a part of that construction crew. He's not homeless either. His family does live in the valley, but not in that actual area there. So, thank you very much.
All right.
Actual area there.
So, Henderson, Nevada. Interesting case. So there's a couple of different ways that I guess want to go about this, because I see two major topics. One is private security, and then the second is the law enforcement response. So, private security. This appears to be a place that is under construction, and that is a bit of bread and butter for private security companies, is to provide security at places that are under construction, right? The more typical stuff that happens at construction sites that warrants the need for security is people coming in stealing tools. Sometimes tools are left on the site, and people come and steal the power tools and things like that, or they steal supplies, lumber, things like that. When it comes to vehicles, the most common kind of vehicles that would probably be stolen would be regular motor vehicles. When it comes to stealing heavy machinery like this, yes, it does happen, but it's not very common. I think stealing trailers is probably a more common thing than stealing heavy equipment like this, because you have to, you can drive it on the road, but it's obviously going to gain attention. So you have to put this thing on a trailer. And then you have to deal with the fact that you've got this big, bright, yellow, freaking huge thing on the back of a trailer that everyone can see. So, like I said, it's happened, but it's not a very common thing. But places under construction will oftentimes have security on site when the workday is over, or sometimes they even have them there during the workday as well. But most definitely when they're not doing any work. So it looks like this property is being covered by an actual security guard on site and some type of video surveillance type of program package, whatever. We see the person walking down the sidewalk, and then they jump the fence. So was there a live person sitting somewhere watching this screen and just happened to see this one screen out of who knows how many screens they're responsible for looking for, and then see this person cross over the fence? It's possible. But I'd say probably what is more likely is there was some type of digital assistance with making this notification that there was some type of activity spotted. So camera systems can come with some pretty good software to where they can detect movement and then be able to make an alert. Send an email, send a text message, or on the monitor itself, you can see a box appear around the object that it's detecting movement on. It can cause a color changing and flashing thing to pop up on the screen to, draw attention to it, whatever. I'd say that's probably the most likely thing that has occurred, is some type of software or algorithm detected movement and sent an alert to the person who is monitoring cameras. I've set and monitored cameras before, and when you have multiple cameras to look at, it is a lot to go on. It is like trying to drink water from the fire truck hose, right? like it full blast, right? Pumping 500 gallons per minute. It is just way too much for one person to effectively monitor everything that's going on. You're going to be missing something. So I have no idea how many different views a person is responsible for with this company, what service they use. I mean, they might have 10 properties that they're responsible for monitoring. It could be 30 of them, and they only start looking at stuff when the alerts pop up, when motion is being detected or something. So they may not, there's a possibility they may not even had these cameras pulled up on their monitors and actively monitoring them. They just got an alert and they went and selected and started watching. So it varies on how this could have played out, but I think that's kind of important to note. So there is a security person on site, and we don't see anything transpire between him and the security person, despite that 911 call from the security person saying that he pulled a weapon on them and threatened them. If you look at the timestamp up here, we're about to hit 9 o'clock, and when I skip forward a few seconds here, it will, there we go. So it jumps from 9 o'clock to 9:10 pretty quickly, and then that's when he takes off. So somewhere between 9 o'clock and 9:10, this security person must have made an approach and talked to him. The 911 call, I think, is kind of telling of what kind of security they had on site. The way they talked it just led me to believe that they're probably not a very great security company, or if not just that, but probably at least not a great person working for them. And in this freeze frame here, I think you can see that person in the background. And that's what you get when it comes to security companies, because you have to think security companies are essentially a temp agency, more or less. You know, an entity calls another entity and says, hey, I need X amount of people to come work for me. And then they send them. That basic definition right there sounds like a temp agency to me. Now, security companies, I guess you could say, are kind of a more specialized temp agency, but a lot of them, there's really nothing special about them. But that's the same premise, right? It's a basic thing going on. And so they don't hire the greatest talent and they don't retain the greatest talent because the pay rates are pretty low. So, you know, the client calls the temp agency, requests manpower, and the temp agency says, well, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. Let's say they say it's going to cost you $25 an hour. Okay. Well, that person who's coming to work it, they're not getting $25 an hour. I guarantee you they are not getting $25 an hour with these large security companies. They're getting significantly less than that. So when you do go through a security company, you are getting people who are being, generally, you're getting people who are being paid a lot less. It's a whole lot better if you can hire internally and have your own. You can pay above that range that the security company people are being paid and get some better talent. But then also you have to do all the back end stuff, all the administrative stuff. You have to find the talent. You have to find the equipment and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it can be more logistically easier to call a company and say, hey, send me some people, and then that's all you got to worry about is just calling someone and having them send people versus calling multiple people, trying to get schedules lined out, trying to find uniform sizes, get people uniformed and equipped, and blah, 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 blah. So this person's probably not making a whole lot there. And another thing to think about is the industry has two sides to it, unarmed and armed. And when it comes to clients wanting security services, they're always going to want to go with that cheapest option, and unarmed is the cheaper option. I would say that this person was probably most likely unarmed, and that is a problem to me. If you are going to be hiring a person and telling them that they can at any time come into contact with the general public and are expected to deter, prevent crimes from occurring, and go make contact with people and tell them to stop, you're putting them at risk of being attacked, and they should be able to defend themselves. If not, then you just need to keep them in a camera room and let them watch cameras all day long. A lot of these companies operate from a observe and report kind of model, kind of mindset, and they won't do anything anyway. Like some of them, they would not have even gone and approached that person and said anything. They just would have got their phone out and called local police. So in essence, a lot of security companies are just professional phone callers. Professional 911 callers. That's all they do. They just observe what's going on and then they report it to someone else. When she made that approach and then the guy pulled the weapon out on her, we don't get to see that on camera. They completely removed it, omitted it for whatever reason, and I would suspect probably something to do with privacy concerns. They blurred out the officers' faces, and it could be that state has adopted some kind of victim law to where victims of crime are given privacy, and their names and likeness of their images and whatnot are not released. So I don't know anything about Nevada laws or anything like that, but that's a possibility. So we don't get to see that interaction occur, so it's really hard to break that one down. But I would say that, if you're private security and you're on your property and you approach someone and tell them to stop doing something, and they pull a knife or they pull a weapon out on you, you have a right to defend yourself. But it has to be objectively reasonable, right? So he may have pulled something out and said he was going to harm her, but if he was sitting in the cab of the bulldozer and did not make any attempt to leave that cab and then come after her, would she have been justified in using some kind of force against him? Whereas if he hopped out of the cab with the weapon and said that, that would completely change that kind of scenario. It would be totally different circumstances there. So just because someone says they're going to kill you doesn't mean that you have the right to then use force. There's some factors that have to come into play. They have to show that they have that capability of actually doing it, and it would have to be reasonable to other people to believe that you had that level of fear. Him stealing the big heavy equipment, I don't really think that there's probably a whole lot that she could have done, because that is a unique piece of equipment. To get into it, you have to climb these little steps that are in between the front and the rear wheel. Let's see if I can find a freeze frame of it from the side. Oh, here we go. Perfect. So if you start to make an attempt to climb on this thing and then he takes off, well, you're going to potentially be ran over by this thing. And then you're having to climb upwards into the cab of this thing. And so automatically the first thing that's available for them to stomp and kick is your face. So it would be very difficult just to try to get up there and grab the person and tell them to get out. So I can't really say that security did anything totally wrong in this scenario, because one, we don't get to see the interaction, but then two, just trying to speculate or extrapolate what's going on there. There's really not a whole lot that she could have done anyway to stop this or to do anything to that guy. I mean, if she had a can of pepper spray and the dude was obviously in the thing trying to steal it and pulled out a weapon, could she have just decided to go ahead and spray some pepper spray into that cab of that vehicle, cause him to have the involuntary eye closure and the difficulty breathing, and make it to where he would be less likely to operate that thing and see where he was going? Yeah, certainly. I think that would probably be a pretty feasible thing to say that, yeah, that could be a good option. But like I said, we don't get to see the video of the interaction, so it's kind of really hard to say much of anything on that. So a little bit more on security. So they have the fences here, and the fences aren't really to keep people totally out, because obviously you can just easily jump over top of it and climb in. It's really to keep people from just wandering into the property. It is a visual barrier that says, hey, please don't go here. It doesn't actually prevent anyone from going over it and going in. It just more so to say, hey, don't go here, or keep going along, because it's not easy to come in here. The path of least resistance is just keep going down the fence line. And that's to keep people from wandering onto an active construction site and potentially being injured. So it's more so to protect the construction crews and the property from any kind of liabilities that may arise from people wandering onto the job site and getting injured. Like right in here, you see this curb and this uneven dirt and some lumber debris, and then you got I forget what they call these things. It looks like I won't say they call them a skirt. It's supposed to deal with water flow once you've removed the topsoil. I forgot the name of it, but anyway, some trip hazards and everything, right? That's really the only reason why this fence is up here, to keep people from wandering onto the property, tripping, falling, injuring themselves, and then being able to have a successful lawsuit against their property. Anyone who's motivated to go over that fence and go steal stuff is going to be able to go over that fence and go steal stuff. Henceforth, the whole reason why we're seeing this video. The dude was totally able to go over there and take this truck, or this front end loader. I don't know a whole lot about heavy equipment, but I do know that bulldozers' keys are pretty universal, and if you lose a key from your bulldozer, it's very easy to go to the dealer and just get like a cookie cutter kind of a spare key. They're not like regular motor vehicle ignitions where you have to get the exact key made, or else it's not going to work. So I don't know anything about this brand or how many variations of an ignition key they have, but I don't know, they're pretty few. So I almost don't think that this guy was, doing it 1980s action movie style and cracking open a box in there and touching wires together or anything like that. I think he probably, because he has construction experience, was able to bypass the ignition by, kind of like what the reporter had asked, if he stuck something in there and started it, or maybe he had some keys on him. Like I said, there's only like so many different variations of keys that they use, or the keys were left in there, right? A lot of times people will leave keys with equipment, because how many times do people drive off with keys to something and then they forget to bring them back, or they're unable to bring them back because they were going on vacation, or they got sick and went to the hospital, or they died or something, right? So keys to things are oftentimes left on site somewhere. Sometimes facilities like this will have a key box, and all the keys, the equipment stays in that box, stays on the site, and you just go to that box and you pull a key for your equipment, use it, and then take it back to the box at the end of the day. So when you think about security of equipment and everything, yeah, it's not a great idea to leave keys inside of equipment. It makes it easier for it to be stolen. A good practice, I think, is to have a centralized key box, have some key accountability, sign in, sign out processes. That way you know who signed out a key, and at the end of the day, if there's no keys returned, you know exactly where those, or who has signed out those keys, and that they have not returned them. And so you know exactly who to go to find out what happened to those keys. All right, so I think that's it on the security side of things. Let's talk about the law enforcement side of things. So, this makes me think about Killdozer. Several years back, I forgot what state it was, there was this guy who had ran into some issues with his local government, who something to do over zoning and water or something like that. They had erected fences, I think, around his property, and they were just being buttholes, making things difficult on him. Basically, I guess trying to force him to sell his property and leave. But anyway, this guy took a big grievance to everything. He took a big bulldozer. He essentially up-armored the thing. He added concrete slabs to the cab and reinforced it to turn it essentially into an armored personnel carrier. And he went through and he destroyed parts of that town. Like, drove through buildings, I think he ran over a car. Just destroyed stuff, and no one could stop him. He, because of his reckless actions, just driving through buildings and wrecking stuff, he damaged his equipment to the point where it became inoperable. I think either ripped a radiator hose or somehow damaged a radiator or something like that, and it overheated and he wasn't able to do anything. And he ended up popping himself inside the cab of the bulldozer. And then there was actually something not too long ago that was kind of similar to this. I want to say it was in a parking lot or something like that. Someone had some kind of it was like a little what do they call them? Skid steer, like a little tiny bobcat or whatever, something like that. And it rammed a police car. And then back in the 90s, this guy stole a tank, like a legit military tank. He took it from a base, and same thing. Like, no one could stop him. Like, how do you stop a tank? A tank is designed to survive being attacked by another tank. The police don't carry anti-tank rounds. What in that case, what got him stopped was an officer climbed up onto the tank, opened the hatch, and then fired a round down into the guy and stopped him from being able to operate the tank any further. So when it comes to large, heavy machinery, tanks, extremely large commercial vehicles like large heavy equipment, tow trucks, or dump trucks, cement trucks, semi trucks, just huge large vehicles, those things are just damn near impossible for law enforcement to be able to control or contain, because their normal police cars are just too small. They don't have the mass or anything to be able to pit one of these things or anything like that. So when it comes to trying to stop things like this, you're not stopping the machine, right? Like, this thing will drive, like, obviously if he would have kept pressing the issue, he would have moved those police cars out of the way. He could have potentially just drove over one of them. If it was a tracked vehicle, had treads on there, yeah, for sure, he's driving over stuff, no problem whatsoever. There's nothing you can do to stop those things. If it's a tracked vehicle, you can't shoot the tracks and hope that it stops it that way. If you got a lucky hit and somehow separated one of those pins holding the tracks together, then maybe. But that's like a 1 in a million kind of shot like that. I don't see that happening. You would have to have explosives to make the tread come apart, to make the track come apart. And then on something like this, it looks like it has regular wheels, right? Yeah, no, you're not shooting those things and making them deflate and then he'd be unable to operate the machinery. No, it's still going to move. It's still going to keep going. So trying to stop the machine is not going to work. You can't throw spike strips out in front of this thing. You have to stop the operator from operating the machine. And I think that these kind of incidents, although rare, I think they have occurred enough times to where I think that there should probably be a field of study on this and some type of training course on how to effectively deal with heavy equipment or large commercial vehicles being stolen or operated in a dangerous manner, and how to stop them. Because the normal tactics of pit maneuvers on passenger vehicles, stuff like that, just will not work with large pieces of equipment like this. Spike strips are not going to work. The cool grappler device, that thing that sticks on the front of the car and it lays down, and then you touch the back of a person's car and it wraps this big cargo net looking thing around the tire, and it has a big nylon webbing tether to it. Like, that's not going to work on these things. So, I think the training, if something, went to be developed on this, I would think the training would need to revolve around stopping the operator. Because if you stop the operator from being able to operate the machinery, then the machinery is going to stop, or is likely going to stop. And with something like this, the easy thing to do is to do what the officers just did. Shoot into the cab of this thing. These things are not Israeli bulldozers, right? Like, they're not up armored or anything like that. So you're going to be able to shoot through the cab and reach someone. Now, my biggest chief complaint when it comes to officer-involved shootings is officers neglecting to get their rifles out. And this is a scenario where I firmly believe a rifle should have been brought out. I think that had this officer got a rifle out, he probably would not have been able to make that full circle the way he did and be able to ram into her car and then ram into the other car. I think the first few shots that would have been fired would have been the ones to completely stop this guy. And if, his limbs did not come off the controls and it was still moving, then yeah, that sucks. It's still going to move. Can't do anything about that. But at least he would not be actively trying to run someone down, to actively try to kill someone. So definitely a rifle should have been brought out to deal with this kind of threat. I mean, you're already dealing with someone who has threatened to kill someone, has produced a weapon, and that in of itself is justification for bringing a rifle out. If you know you're going to something that's going to involve the high likelihood of deadly physical force, someone trying to kill other people, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles. Rifles stop fights very quickly. And then the mere fact of what was involved, big, heavy machinery like this, as I said, it's a given. Like, it's a no-brainer. You are not stopping this vehicle with a patrol car. You can't pit it. You can't spike strip it. You can't grapple it. You can't box it in. You have to stop the operator. And so, now, obviously, you don't know right off the bat if someone's going to be trying to mow people down in this thing just because they've stolen it. They could just be stealing it because they're stupid and wanting to go for a little, joyride, or they're trying to start it up and put it on a trailer and actually, legitimately steal it. It's funny. Legitimately steal it. But anyway, a rifle definitely should have been brought out for this. And even though a rifle was not brought out, I still question why this officer only fired a few rounds and then stopped.
Hey, stop! Stop now! You're coming at me! Stop! You're not a criminal! Stop firing!
Yeah, he's still turning. He's still coming for you. You still got more rounds in your gun. Use them. Keep shooting. Shoot until you stopped the threat. Anything worth shooting once is worth shooting twice. Give them second servings, right? Like, everyone loves seconds. I just don't understand why she stopped shooting. This guy is an active threat. He's trying to run her over. And there's definitely no surviving being run over by this thing. It's just, no. Like, it's like, you will not survive that. It's your duty to stop him. you took an oath to protect other people. It's not just trying to save your own life. You know, of all the people in this town, he tried to kill a uniformed police officer, someone he knows has a gun. If he's going to try to do that, I think it's pretty reasonable to believe that he's going to try to kill anyone else. And even if he is saying, you know what, I guess I don't need to be trying to run her over. This kind of hurts being shot at. I'm going to keep moving. Well, even though he's moving away from her, he's still a threat. He's still a imminent danger to society. He's a clear and present danger to society. And under Tennessee versus Gardner, she would be justified in using deadly physical force to stop him. She should have shot more. And that's one of my other complaints when it comes to these kind of incidents is police just not using the correct amount of force, which is, you know, kind of ironic because most people complain that too much force is being used. But I'm kind of on the opposite end of that. I complain that not enough force is being used. And same thing with the other officer. Only firing a couple rounds. No, just let him have it. In the very beginning of this, we see no rifles, just pistols only. It's not until a little time later when
the evidence that we have shared today is correct.
Yeah. So it's not till a little bit time later that you see this guy with a rifle and then this guy with a rifle as well. So this right here. So he has brought this thing to a stop. This thing's perfectly capable of still operating, right? You just got to manipulate the controls, back up, keep going, or just hit the gas and keep going. This thing will climb that car. Like, it will go over, no problem whatsoever. And so how do you effectively go about doing something like this? They had the 40 millimeter launchers. So you can see it right there. I don't think 40 millimeter launchers are that effective. I kind of see them being almost the same as the 12 gauge beanbag rounds. They're just pain compliance, and I think too many people are able to fight through that minimal amount of pain that they induce, and I just don't think they're that effective. I think a pepper ball gun probably would have been the more effective thing to use against this person in the cab of the vehicle to try and coerce him to come out. You just impact the rounds into the ceiling, let the powder rain down on him, and then with that one door being open and then the windows being kind of cracked, you can do direct hits on him. Just light him up. And then if you're able to safely get close enough, just start spraying cans of pepper spray in there. He's going to come out eventually. Taser, I think, would also be a decent option. And I can imagine that someone would say, well, he's in an elevated position. True. But he's in a seated position. That elevated position is in the cab of a vehicle. And there's a floor in there. So I think it would be safe to use taser. Now, the moment that he were to be getting up and then coming out of the door, yeah, you don't want to use taser at that point because he could fall, and that could be a significant fall for him, because anytime that a person is taller than, anytime a person is at a height that is taller than them, that increases their risks of traumatic injury by X amount. And so, yeah, you wouldn't want him to fall from something that is over his normal height and then hit his head. That could cause serious physical injury and or death. But if he's seated in the cab of this vehicle, and the only risk is him, leaning, falling into the floor of the cab, then by all means, just start darting him with a Taser 10. Trying to go up there and manhandle him is is obviously dangerous, and it was dangerous because they fell 7 feet. Like they literally fell. Like, we'll hit play right now. You can watch this. Bam, like that. Man, that had to freaking hurt. Because they are not on soft ground. They're on pavement, and where this thing is at, so you can look at the tires down here. That rear tire is on the roadway, and then you see this concrete median right here. Man, they had to have either fell directly onto that median or obviously right into the gravel right there. Either one is going to be hurting. And actually, you know what? Oh shit. So if you look here at the bottom, yeah, they did fall on that concrete curb. God dang, that had to hurt. Yeah, so it's backing up, going forward. Bam. God, that's gotta hurt. 7 foot drop onto that damn thing. So yeah, trying to climb up there and manhandle him is a risk. One, you're at a great height, you fall, cause significant injury. Secondly, what if he's operating the controls and you are trying to climb this little thing right here, and this thing lurches backwards, forwards, whatever? You're going to be right under these tires, and that's not a place that you want to be, because you're not surviving that. Best case scenario is it just drives over your feet and your legs, and you are medically retired for the rest of your life. But it goes over your torso, your head. I mean, it's nice knowing you. Like, you're not. It's going to be horrible. Which is why I think, utilizing the spray, the tasers, stuff like that would be a better option to try to get him to actually come out of there. Getting the fire department on scene. So getting the fire department on scene, that could be a way to, one, use a large apparatus that has some weight and mass to it to potentially prevent him from easily backing up. I don't think that would be a good option. I don't think it'd be a good risk management idea, because you're risking a several $100,000 piece of equipment that could be taken offline, and it could be weeks before a replacement could be put in its place. So I think the best kind of scenario from involving fire department or something like that is having a charged line, and then just being able to force him out with water. Just, you got 500 gallons of water coming out through an attack line. If the pain alone doesn't make you move, the water itself will make you move. Like, it will knock someone down. As far as and that's it as far as trying to get them out. I don't think deploying a canine would be a very good idea, because one, I don't think a canine would be able to very effectively climb up into there. You'd have to get pretty close and kind of throw the dog in there, and then again, you're running into that scenario where you're getting so close to these doors and these big wheels. Do you want to be in that space? And then secondly, once the dog's in there and you're fighting with them, you're still going to have to climb up in there and deal with this guy, and you yourself is going to be at a great height. As far as trying to disable the vehicle or prevent it from moving, there's not much to be able to do. Again, like I said, I think if he wanted to, he could hit the controls and probably power over this vehicle here. Definitely be able to put this thing in reverse and just back off of it. Like, I don't think this thing's disabled at all. I think he's probably mentally incapacitated. I don't think he really wanted to completely follow through with what was going on. I don't think he wanted to experience any more pain of being shot. But if he didn't have that mental incapacitation going on, he, I think for sure, definitely could have operated this thing a little bit more. So how do you disable something like this? You have to go back to the coolant stuff. and you'd have to know how these things are designed, and know what parts of the engine to target with a gunfire. And you know, back here with the radiator and everything, that would be a place to be shooting at. But if you don't know where the motor components of everything are on this thing, you don't really know fully what you're shooting at. You don't know what the size of stuff is inside this compartment, right? You know, you think about the engine compartment of your vehicle. Is that entire engine compartment full of big, thick metal stuff that's going to stop bullets? No, it's not. There's a lot of vehicles that you could be on one side of the vehicle and I'd be on the other, and I can shoot through that engine compartment and it not touch that engine at all, and it just goes through some spaces, and it can go through from one side of the car to the other and still hit you. So I don't think that, you know, shooting into this engine compartment is the greatest idea, because unless you have some kind of intricate knowledge of this machinery and know what components are here and the sizes of it, I just don't think that it would be effective. You know, say you start shooting at this panel right here. Do you even know what exactly is behind this little panel right here? So it goes back to, I think, the most effective way to stop this kind of machinery is to stop the operator. You take the operator out of the equation, they can no longer operate the machinery. Now, there is obviously the possibility that once they become physically incapacitated, their feet, hands could still be on the controls and pressing down on those and causing the vehicle to still move. But it being unsteered, unguided, it's going to run into something that's going to stop, right? It's not like it'll just keep going and going and going. It's not like it'll just drive through, you know, drive through this house, drive through this house, drive through this house, drive through this house, and, you know, be like the little hungry caterpillar. It's not going to heat through everything. It's going to stop on something. So the most effective method to stop things like this is to stop the operator. And that's why I really think that a good proper training course on something like this that goes over, you know, that obvious no-brainer is something that's needed, because I think a lot of people in scenarios like this may not fully think that, but at the end of the day, that's the only way to stop these things, is you have to stop that operator. All right, that's it. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.